Welcome to the adventures of Hussleberry Finn. Okay, as beautiful as this crystal clear mountain stream is, and as nice as it feels on this hot summer day, it's really noisy in the background. And so I'm gonna walk over here into the forest. Okay, I've been camping here at the site of this beautiful Sierra snowmelt stream for the past few days, and honestly, I feel like I want to stay here forever. I mean, it's absolutely gorgeous up here. We got the aspen trees twinkling in the sunlight. We've got the stream rushing merrily along, providing wonderful white noise for sleeping at night. And there might even be a hot spring somewhere in the area, making it very difficult to leave. And honestly, well, I'm not even sure why I'm leaving. I mean, normally I go home at this time of year, back to Death Valley. And you might be thinking, well, gee, why would anybody go to Death Valley in August? Well, I live there for better or for worse. And well, typically at this time of year, I gotta go home and start getting ready for Burning Man. That's right, I'm one of those dirty degenerates who enjoys going up to the Black Rock Desert every year and doing all kinds of stuff. And so normally I like to go home and spend a couple weeks getting ready for that, because there's always a lot of prep work to do for Burning Man. You know, not only do I have to clean out my trailer and make sure the tires are okay, but I also have to make sure my electric vagina is tuned up and all the other props I'm gonna need for the various shenanigans I get up to on the playa. But this year is different, because this year, for the first time since 2009, I'm not sure if I'm actually going to Burning Man. Now I know you're probably wondering, what could possibly have happened to keep me from going to Burning Man? I mean, did World War III start? Did Russia invade Pennsylvania? Is there some terrible new virus keeping us all trapped indoors? Well, no, fortunately, it's none of those. Nothing like that. It's just, well, I've got a lot of weird stuff going on in my personal life. Okay, I talked about this at the beginning of the summer. In fact, I was camped right near here when I made that video. It's the summer of flux, okay? My mom is in the middle of selling her house. And I don't want to say too much about that because I don't want to jinx it, but if all goes well, she's going to need me to help her pack up her stuff, put it in storage, and figure out where she wants to move next. And on top of all that, one of my grandmothers is having some health challenges, some significant health challenges. And so, well, I really feel like I'd like to go visit my grandma. And I really feel like I need to help my mom. And of course, my mom is so nice. She said, oh, no, I wouldn't imagine, I wouldn't dream of, you not going to Burning Man. Go ahead to Burning Man, I'll be fine. Well, if the timeline goes the way I'm hoping it'll go, she's going to have to be out of her house right on the day they burn the man. So that means the week leading up to it, well, I'm going to be running around the desert in an electric vagina while my sister and brother are busting their humps, packing up all her crap and moving it into storage? No sirree. I could hardly call myself Wonderhussy if I was to pull a move like that. This is family, okay? Out of everything going on in this crazy world, no matter how beautiful a Sierra snowmelt stream or how tempting a drug-fueled orgy on the playa, and I'm not one for orgies, none of that, or I should say all of that, pales in comparison to helping my mom. So I don't actually know what's gonna happen. I'm filming this video on August 5th. Normally I leave for Burning Man on August 21st because I like to get up there early so I can avoid the lines and just set up stuff ahead of time, which means I need to spend, the next 2 weeks getting stuff ready. I still gotta dress that ugly wig I bought in Hollywood. I gotta try to fix that. I gotta try to fix my old wig. I got a lead on a place I could buy a new wig. I got a lot of stuff to do. So it's kind of weird being in limbo. Like, well, I guess I could just sort of sit up here in the mountains and wait until I hear from my mom. But I sort of feel like, because I don't want to jinx anything, I should just go ahead and proceed as if I am going to Burning Man. And so in a couple days I'm going to pack up my camp and I'm going to head back into the blistering, sweltering depths of Death Valley in August and fix my wig and clean my car and, you know, do all the things that I would normally do as if I was gonna go. Even though the odds are I might end up having to pretty much turn around and go straight back up to help my mom in Northern California. Everything is literally that much in limbo, and it's a really weird feeling for me because, well, I'm kind of a type A person, to be honest. I like to know exactly where I'm going, for how long, what kind of videos I'm going to shoot there, and, you know, where I'm going to go next. And I think I keep that kind of a lifestyle because it keeps me distracted from thinking about the bigger picture. You know, as long as I'm focused on YouTube, well, then I don't have to focus on my real problems, like where I'm really going in life. And so this whole going with the flow, being in the moment, is really weird for me, but I think it's good for me, and I'm actually kind of enjoying it. Shh, don't tell anyone. It'll ruin my type A credibility as a successful YouTuber, or semi-successful YouTuber anyway. Anywho, yeah, that's what's up. I'm camping here with my group of hobo friends at one of my favorite places in the mountains. And I really do feel like a modern day version of Huckleberry Finn, only instead of a raft, I have a forerunner. And instead of Huckleberry Finn, I'm Hussleberry Finn. Incidentally, if you're signed up for my newsletter, well, you've already heard all of this. I sent out a newsletter a few days ago talking about all of this. And if you're not signed up for my newsletter, why aren't you? Go over to my website, wonderhussy.com, and enter your email address there. And all I do is send out like a newsletter every now and then talking about what I've been up to. And, you know, there's some behind the scenes photos of the places I've been over the past several months because, yeah, I might be here right now at this hobo camp full of my hobo friends. Okay, that's my buddy who lives full-time in that little school bus. And then that's my buddy who lives full-time in that RV. And then that's my electrician friend, Terry, who actually has the back of his truck loaded up with gear that he plans to bring down and store at our Death Valley compound. That's right, Terry's back on the scene. Anyway, I'm having a fine time camping here with my hobo friends, but I've been a bunch of really amazing places this summer. Okay, I got kind of a late, weird start because I had to go up and help my mom get her house ready to stage for the photos for the real estate listing. And so I really only had the month of July to travel around. But boy, howdy, did I make up for lost time. I went all over, well, I was going to say all over the place, but really I stuck to the state of California because it was so dang hot everywhere. I know I complained about that already in a video too, but this friggin' heat wave was all over the West Coast. And so I wanted to go explore the deserts of Eastern Oregon and Washington and then head up to Idaho and check out some hot springs, but it was so freaking hot everywhere. I just decided to stay in California, and so I tried to stay in the mountains or along the coast because those are the coolest places. And you can find plenty of places to camp in the mountains. And I had some amazing campsites. I camped on Mount Shasta, which was unbelievable. I went to a Bigfoot trap. That's right, somebody actually built a Bigfoot trap in the mountains way up in Northern California. And I was up at Lake Tahoe. And, well, then I went over to the coast. The coast is a little bit harder to find free camping because, golly, it seems like every place on the California coast, you either have to pay $30 to $50 to camp there and book it like a year in advance. But I did find a few places to camp for free or for cheap. And I shot a bunch of amazing videos. In fact, you can probably see the wear and tear on my flip-flops. If you've been watching my channel, I made that video at the McKittrick Tar Pits, and that was like, these flip-flops were brand new. I think that was the second day I wore them. Okay, I like to start each summer with a brand new pair of flip-flops, and these are the only flip-flops I ever wear, ever. These Teva Mush, I think they're called. I love them because they have a little wedge heel, and I'm vain, and I'm built like a penguin. I have short legs, so I like a little bit of lift, but they're rugged, they're durable, they'll get you wherever you want to go. I am not sponsored by Teva. I'm just saying I like these flip-flops. Anyway, these were brand new when I left Death Valley on June 12th, and I shot, I mean, probably like 20 videos in them, and you can see they are getting a little worse for wear. Anyway, I did have plenty of amazing adventures this summer before I ended up here at this hobo camp. But the summer was not without its challenges. Of course, there was the heat, and there was the fact that I didn't really know how much time I had to travel or if I was going to be able to travel. But I also had a lot of just really stupid logistical challenges, okay? This is a dummy phone. This is my old cell phone that I keep as a backup in case my main phone that I'm shooting this with, oh, how meta, has a problem. Anyway, I wanted to demonstrate. This is the rig I use when I shoot my videos. Okay, I just use a smartphone in a selfie stick, but I put a big furry external microphone on it because of the wind noise in the desert. You know, it gets real windy in the desert and it makes that really annoying sound when you're watching a video and somebody's not using a microphone. It's just, you can't even hear the audio. Well, this thing works great at cutting through the wind noise. The only problem is it's designed to plug into a headphone jack. And well, this phone is old enough to where it does have a headphone jack, but phones nowadays, like the phone I'm shooting this with, doesn't have a headphone jack. And so you have to buy this special connector cable that has a USB-C connector on one side, and I think it's a TRS on the other side. Okay, that's an audio term. I unfortunately had to familiarize myself through my audio journey. It's been a struggle. It means tip ring sleeve, and it has something to do with the number of lines on it. There's TRS and TRRS. Anyway, I didn't want to know anything about TRS or TRRS or any of this. I just wanted clean audio, but over the years, I've had to struggle with figuring out a way to make these external microphones work with smartphones. And so I did figure out a way. This little connector works great. The phone I'm shooting this with has a USB-C connector instead of a headphone jack. So you just plug this into that, and then you plug this end into the microphone. Bada bing, bada boom, clean audio. Well, problem is, not always. So apparently there's some kind of little tiny, I'm not an electronics person, and I'm hoping somebody watching this might be, there's some kind of little chip in this thing that somehow translates the audio and makes the phone pick up the audio. Well, this little chip just randomly goes bad from time to time, and it gives you absolutely no warning. And so I'll shoot a whole video, and then when it comes time to edit it, I load it into my editing software, and the audio is just very frustrating. I can't tell you how much audio I've lost over the years when these things just randomly conk out. They just go on the fritz. Now I've kind of started to notice there are some little warning signs when a cable is going bad, you know, one of these little adapter cables. So I always try to keep at least one extra one with me. But still, I've lost a lot of audio that way, and this summer was miserable. Okay, so at the beginning of the summer, the first few videos I shot, I think my cable was going bad, and so I had the and I had to dub some stuff, and I had to do some voiceovers, and well, if you're really smart, you may have noticed there was some funky audio in my videos recently. It's all because the dang cable went bad. Well, when I was hiking with my friend Terry, actually, up on Mount Tamalpais to that plane crash, I noticed, oh, hold on a minute, this adapter is going bad. I'm going to go ahead and change it out. Haha, I'm going to be proactive. And so I changed it out, and I didn't have the same audio issues, not the but now I'm having this weird issue where the audio lags behind the video. So like, I'll make a video of myself saying, Peter Piper pecked a peck of pickled peppers, but then when I watch it in the editing software, everything that I'm saying is like a half second behind my lips moving. So I'll go like a second before I actually say Peter. So it just looks really weird, and I have to separate the audio track from the video track and like adjust it, and it's very time consuming and cumbersome, and I don't know what the solution is. Okay, I replaced the cable, I replaced the microphone even. I'm using a brand new microphone and a brand new cable. I'm still experiencing the issue, and so I think the phone itself might be bad. I don't know, I'm sure this is really boring. I'm sorry to bore you guys by talking about it. I'm just hoping that there's somebody watching who has AV experience and can give me some advice, because golly, I guess I'm gonna have to buy a new dang cell phone and see if that'll fix the problem. Anyway, you might be thinking, well, gee, Wonderhussy, why don't you just stop using a cell phone and get a real camera? And that is something I've thought about over the years. In fact, gosh, 5 years ago, back in 2019, when I went to Namibia, I thought to myself, ooh, I'm going to Africa. You know, I'm gonna be taking pictures of animals, you know, tigers, elephants, well, maybe not tigers, but lions, elephants. I'm gonna have to get a real camera. And so I did. I went out and bought a big, bulky, expensive DSLR, you know, with a fancy lens and everything. I shot one video with it. And first of all, it's heavy, you know. I'm hiking up friggin' mountains and climbing in these abandoned buildings. I can't be lugging around a giant 5-pound camera with me. Well, I did get this camera and I did use it in Namibia. But the thing is, those things are really high def, man. And they show every dent and ding in your face. And I didn't like it. And so I never shot another video with that camera again. I'm sticking with the cell phone. And the cell phone has done me good all these years and all these 1,000 videos. That's right, I have over 1,000 videos on my YouTube channel. It's funny because somebody emailed me recently going, hey, you should do some kind of special for your 1,000th adventure. Well, the thing is, like, I number my adventure videos because somebody once told me I should. So you'll see, like, welcome to Wonderhussy Adventure number 684. But I also do a lot of vlogs like this. I'm not numbering this. And then I do random other odd videos. So I don't know, I just looked it up and I have 1,033 videos on my YouTube channel. Now, some of them are just real random odds and ends from before I got serious about YouTube. But I have over 1,000 real videos up, and so, well, it's kind of too late to have any kind of celebration. Now, I know what you're probably thinking, like, what the hell is up with this creepy dude that you carry around in the car? And why is he always lurking over your shoulder? Well, I'm glad you asked. As I've mentioned before, this is my travel buddy, Ben. And some might say he's a girl's dream travel buddy, and maybe even a girl's dream boyfriend because he never talks back. You might call him the strong, silent type. You know, he never wants to pull over because he has to go to the bathroom. He never wants to pull over because he has to go to McDonald's. He's just quiet and tough. I mean, look at those tattoos. He makes an excellent theft deterrent, okay? Remember when I was in Hollywood? I put him in the front seat of the car because, you know, out of the corner of your eye or through a tinted window, it kind of looks like there's a person sitting in the front seat. And so I feel like it does keep people, maybe, from breaking into my car. And so, well, that's one reason I've been traveling around with Ben, but honestly, I've also been traveling around with Ben because I get lonely, and it's, as corny as it is, he's really good to talk to. But the real reason I'm traveling around with Ben is actually, it's a pretty sad story, and I decided today would be a good day to tell you the full story of Ben. Okay, I'm actually not going to give away too many details because this is an actual human, or was an actual human, and I certainly don't want to make light of his situation, but it's a really sad story. Okay, a friend of mine was dating Ben, and Ben, by all accounts, was a real nice young guy. This friend of mine met him at work. They used to work together, and she lost touch with him for many years, and then they reconnected on Facebook or something one day, and well, come to find out, Ben ended up in prison because he was living in Florida, and one day he was out in his friend's boat, like cruising around the bay or whatever, and they found a bale of cocaine floating in the water, like a bale of cocaine that had fallen off some smuggler's boat. And so Ben and his buddies were like, oh, well, we'll take this bale of cocaine back into town, we'll sell it and make some money. Bad idea, unfortunately. They ended up getting caught, and he ended up getting sent to prison. I don't remember what his sentence was, but it was a really, really harsh sentence for selling a bale of cocaine. Okay, I personally think that the drug wars, or whatever you want to call them, are asinine, but I mean, I guess I understand why they're trying to prosecute these people. Anyway, unfortunately, poor Ben ended up in the hoosgow in a bad way. And so when this friend of mine reconnected with him after all these years, well, he was in prison, so she started a correspondence with him. They became kind of like prison pen pals, and then it developed into something more, and they became boyfriend and girlfriend. Now, Ben, again, by all accounts, he sounded like a really nice guy. He supposedly had a great personality, but he was kind of frustrated. You know, he was, I guess, pissed off about the whole situation, and so he had a contraband cell phone that he would use to talk to my friend every night, and I guess things got pretty hot and heavy. It went on for years, and so she had this pillow made of him so she could kind of cuddle him while she was talking to him on the phone. And anyway, you're probably wondering, well, how did I end up with him? Well, it gets even worse. Unfortunately, Ben was murdered in prison. I told you this was a really messed up story, and it's not really something to joke around about. I mean, if there was anything good to come out of this whole mess, it's that my girlfriend that was dating him got a whole new understanding of how messed up our prison system is. I mean, prior to this experience, she was pretty much a law and order type, but her experience with the prison system when she was dating him, like, really opened our eyes to, it's super screwed up. So he was in some kind of white collar prison, I think, but it was pretty heavy security. It was like a federal facility. I'm not sure why he was in a federal prison, but anyway, one of his roommates or somebody at the prison, I'm not sure of the details, had it in for him, and they, you know, obviously you can't have weapons in prison, but they make their own weapons. This guy had like a sock full of quarters or something that I think he hit him on the head, and Ben wasn't feeling well, so he went to lay down on the top bunk, and then he supposedly fell out of the bunk and hit his head and ended up in a coma, and then eventually died. We don't actually know what really happened because God knows so much crazy crap goes on in these prisons that we have no idea what the real story is. But the sad fact of the matter is, this young man, and I think he was only in his 30s, early 30s, died in prison because he found a friggin' bale of cocaine floating in the water off the coast of Florida. And then tried to sell it, which I guess was his real mistake. I guess he should have just picked it up with his fingertips and turned it into the proper authorities, and everything would be okay, and him and my friend would be married to this day. Who knows? Anyway, you're probably wondering, well, if my girlfriend's boyfriend was murdered, how did I end up with his pillow? Well, it was obviously a hugely traumatic situation, and I mean, it was really, really rough on this friend of mine. But she did eventually get over it by becoming really involved in prison advocacy, prison reform. And so she joined some prison reform group, and, you know, this is years later, met another guy involved in the prisoner reform movement that she ended up falling in love with. And so she didn't want to keep this pillow of her ex-boyfriend anymore. It'd be awkward for her new boyfriend. And so she kind of had Ben hidden in her closet. But then I was like, well, if you don't want him anymore, I'll take him. You know, I'll take him around with me while I'm traveling this beautiful country, and I'll let him see some parts of the country that he never got the chance to see, okay? You know, he saw Florida and he saw a couple other states when he was alive, but I don't think he ever really traveled around much. And so since I've had Ben, I've taken him a bunch of places with me. I mean, you've seen in some of my videos, I took him to the Four Corners Monument down in Arizona. I took him to Monument Valley. I've taken him to Lake Tahoe. I took him from Hollywood all the way up to the Lost Coast. And, well, now he's here at this hobo camp with me, where, to be honest, he kind of fits right in. And I don't even mean to joke about Ben, because throughout this whole crazy summer I've been going through, Ben has kind of been like my only constant. You know, in this whole crazy turbulent summer, Ben is the one thing I could always count on. Well, actually, Ben and my rig, I mean, let's stop and take a minute to talk about my Toyota 4Runner, which you can see I have all fixed up for camping. I got my bed made in the back. I've got all my gear there stashed on the side, but I've been traveling around all summer long in this thing. Now you can see I got my Starlink hooked up. I got my solar panel on the roof. I got my fridge plugged in on the side there. This thing has been a friggin' champ, and that's even more impressive when you consider that she's about to hit 200,000 miles. Oh, I know, yikes. Things are gonna start falling apart any minute. A metaphor for my own life, but yeah, I think I'm at 199.9 or something. I think I have a few hundred miles to go, and I'm gonna hit the big 200K, which means before you know it, I'm gonna have to start thinking about, well, am I gonna get another 4Runner? Am I gonna try a van? Or am I just gonna keep riding this one into the ground? Which is yet one more life-altering decision to be made in the coming months. I'm just going with the flow. Okay, like I said, I am not used to going with the flow, but I gotta take a page from the Buddhists and just plop my metaphorical floaty into the stream, crack open a ranch water, and just see where the water takes me. I guess I'll see you somewhere downstream.